How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's that time of year again. It's that time of year to wrap up March Madness. It is essentially closing in on midnight here, as you can see, on fucking April 7th here. Another March Madness 2025 in the books. An interesting tournament this year. Had a lot of, I don't want to say unexpected, but a lot of, rare occurrences happen here, as you can see from the Final Four. Obviously, no one expected that. But yeah, crazy March Madness here in a few different ways. But overall, I'm happy. If you guys remember my kind of tournament predictions, this little championship game prediction here should look very familiar to you. This is the official bracket, not my bracket. For some reason, it won't let me pull it up, but I do have my bracket just for proof, even though I made it already, obviously. So yeah, doing very well. Basically won every one of my bracket pools and did well in the larger millions and millions brackets. And we're in the 92nd percentile here, so that's great. Definitely love to see that. Glad my predictions, held out, and if you rolled with me, I'm glad I could, bring you along with me here to hopefully win your pools there. But yeah, crazy year. Obviously, Florida winning the championship. That's who I predicted. They were the SEC champions. They were the hottest team coming in. I think the most talented team coming in, honestly. They were constantly tested. Had basically outside of Norfolk State in the first round, obviously. Had a close game, as you can see here, virtually every round. I know they pulled away versus Maryland there, but had a close game and had a tough round basically every game they faced. It was a battle, but Florida did in the end, scraping back to beat Houston. What a game! I'm not a huge fan of the foul call-ins that we'll get into in a second, but it was a good game. It came down to the wire. Florida being able to get it done here definitely helped my bracket. Definitely, again, yeah, yeah, I'm him. But it's I believe the second time I'd have to look back to see if I picked UConn to win the first time. I don't think I did, but 2 out of 4 on I believe as far as I've been doing. I think I've been doing these bracket tournament predictions for about 4 years. I am 2 of 4, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. Might be 3 or 4, but I'm pretty sure I'm 2 of 4 on picking champions. One with Kansas back in the day, and then with Florida this year. So pretty good track record here, and a pretty good bracket percentiles usually. It's great. I love that Florida won. They deserved it. They're an amazing team all year. I thought they were gonna win. It's always good to get that. My bets are hitting. My bet on Florida hit. The bets, the brackets, they're all. It's just a great day. It's a great time of year. I love it. It's sad that March Madness is over. But now that we've gotten past the celebrations and the big ticket items here, I mean predicting the champion and the runner up. I had Houston in there, if you remember. You can see on my phone there. So yeah, great. Now that we're past the celebration, let's get to some of the nittier grittier things I think about this tournament. I kind of hinted at one earlier there with the officiating. I think the refs in this tournament were at best subpar. They were very foul happy throughout the entire tournament. People were kind of hinting at that and talking about that coming into the tournament, especially with the SEC being a huge representative this year, about like how SEC plays such a physical brand of ball. And if the refs were going to punish them for that, it seems like they did. Not even just the SEC. It seems like for the most part, of course, with some exceptions, a lot of fouls. I'm not a huge fan of the whistle. I mean, obviously everyone's a fan of the whistle when it's going in their team's way, whether they're betting or picked them in the bracket or you're a fan. But I wasn't a huge fan, objectively speaking, of all the whistles. But that's how it played this tournament. I hope that changes next tournament and next year at large, generally. Because yeah, that definitely not only slows down the game and makes it less entertaining, but just I don't like the refs getting involved and trying to decide or get their 15 minutes of fame. It rubs me the wrong way. And the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about as far as just general bracket things, yeah, just scroll down and you should see the issue here of why this tournament got called Mid Madness this year. Because not a lot happened as far as upsets and Cinderellas or anything. That's why I put in the title, or we'll see. I haven't decided yet, but if I do, but Mid Madness, are Cinderellas dead? Question mark. in a one-game tournament like March Madness, anything can happen. You're not gonna, completely eliminate upsets. It's not gonna be complete shock any year. It's just not gonna happen. I don't even think it's physically possible, honestly. But as far as Cinderella runs, upsets are still gonna happen round one, maybe even round two. But as far as Cinderella runs, is there going to be, a team outside of like the big Power Five conferences, outside of, you know, the 11 seed and down, is there going to be a team making it to the Sweet 16, to the Elite Eight, to the Final Four? Like we've seen in the past. Obviously, we got 4 1 seeds, a very chalky bracket, which I think no one predicted 4 1 seeds in. I mean, it's against every rule of picking a bracket if you know anything about like the analytics and everything. But yeah, very chalky bracket. I think my theory, and I've talked to some people about this, and they all seem to agree. And I've seen some other people have this take. It's NIL money. Not saying it's a bad thing at all. I'm a huge advocate for NIL money. Not saying I don't get any myself or anything. I'm not like chasing it or anything. I just I've always advocated the fact that these guys should have these guys should have fucking been getting paid for a long time of their image and likeness. Jesus. And it's well overdue. So I'm a huge fan of NIL, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge this is a semi-pro or just a straight up pro, basketball league at this point, essentially. And when you pay millions of dollars for your team or for a single player and stuff, expectations are put on them. You know, you can't really go out there, have a team, pay you 5 mil, give you a nice house, give you a fucking Hellcat or something, and then get knocked out in the first round of the fucking tournament. Your shit's gonna get repoed. It is what it is. You can't lose as a 1 seed. You can't lose as a 2 seed. You can't lose as a 3 seed anymore. You have to win. You have to really get to the Sweet 16 if you really want to have some security there. I think this NIL money, the amount of disparity in money between the Power Five and the mid majors, as well as just the expectations put on the team and individual players to perform and earn their money, so to speak, is immense, and they feel that. I think that's part of. I think it's a huge reason as to why you're going to see more disparity, more chalky brackets, and why there's not going to be less upsets and almost no Cinderella runs going into the future unless something changes with NIL or something. But in the current state, I mean, I'm not saying 4 1 seeds are going to make it. As you get down to like the Elite Eight, the Final Four, the Elite Eight, even the Sweet 16, when you get these power conference matchups like a 4v5, a 5 can win. When you get a 4v1 or a 3v1, a 3 can win or a 4 can win. But you have to, gone are the days where a team like fucking, let me just pick one out of the bag. High Point was a popular one. Like, I picked them personally, and I learned my lesson in this bracket about Cinderellas, but gone are the days where Cinderellas or a team like High Point or a Grand Canyon can get to like the Elite Eight or something, or get to the Sweet 16 here. That's just not, or the Final Four, like a Loyola run or something. It's just, I don't see it happening anymore outside of like the powerhouse conferences of the Big Ten, the Big East, the Big 12, the SEC, and stuff like that. I don't see it happening really. It's just again NIL money. Those teams in those conferences can make a run. Like for example, like if Illinois had made a run to like the Elite Eight or something, that's about Cinderella as you're gonna get these days. Or like a Maryland making it to the Final Four, or something as a 4 seed. That's as crazy as it's probably gonna get going forward, in my opinion. I don't think you're gonna have these double-digit seeds making the Final Four, the championship, the Elite Eight anymore. Really, it's just I don't know. It's unless they're from like a Power Five, like an 11 seed, like North Carolina or something. But it's outside of that, you're really not going to see the Cinderella runs with this NIL money and these expectations. And there's just the disparity is growing, the wealth gap is growing, and it just is what it is. You know, and I mean, I'm not even complaining. Part of me wants to see the madness. The upsets are still going to happen in the first round, but part of me wants to see these Cinderella runs, these huge stories of these, the Loyola guy with the mustache. It's just, you want to see that, but at the same time, it's like, what can you do? And at the same time, 4 1 seeds is a little boring, a little chalky in the Final Four, but there were some good games. Like, these were great games. They went down to the wire. It's four incredibly talented and experienced and, very good teams and good basketball. So at the end of the day, it's not as exciting or wow or all shucks or anything, but you're getting good basketball. Like this is good basketball. These are very talented kids, experienced kids. These are great teams, great programs. So it's it's a double-sided thing. It's a trade-off for sure. But that's just my thought on Cinderella runs. Why I put in there like our Cinderella's dead question marks. But yeah, I just don't see these teams going. I don't see them being able to do much going forward here. But yeah, that's my thought on the Cinderella run. That's my thought on the officiating. I think it was a little too hands-on there. They were really trying to get involved in the games. I didn't like that, especially against an SEC teams that traditionally play more physical than some of the other conferences. People were worried about that going in, and it was somewhat true, somewhat untrue. But I don't know. Across the board, I just thought it was a little too harsh, I guess you could say. Um, yeah, glad Florida won. The bracket did really well. Again, we are in, the 92nd percentile here, which is great. I'm trying to cover, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I won't show it, but yeah, 92nd percent. Fuck. Horrible production quality. I understand. 92nd percentile. You know, Florida and Houston. That was way off on the tiebreaker. I was expecting a higher scoring game, but that's how it happens. Um, Again, I got two out of the four Final Four guys right. I got Houston and Florida, obviously. I didn't predict Auburn or Duke to make it. I had Alabama and Iowa State, which, fuck, that didn't pan out. Did pretty well in the Elite Eight, though. Had Auburn, had Florida, had Texas Tech, had Duke, had Bama, and Bama winning, and they didn't. Had Houston, didn't have Tennessee, had Kentucky, but it is what it is. Overall, pretty good bracket. My bracket ended with on ESPN, which they do a little differently with the points. It's not just one or and then two and then four or whatever. I had 15, 20 points on ESPN's bracket tournament. Ranked like 2 million out of however many brackets are made every year. 92nd percentile there, so pretty good year. So that's the recap on the championship, my bracket, what I thought about the tournament as a whole, mid madness as it were, and what's going on going forward in the officiating. So yeah, another great year of March Madness, another exciting games to watch, and one of the best times, one of the best tournaments, probably the best sporting events in tournament of the year in my opinion. Wrapped up here, it was a good one. Great betting wise, the favorites, which I bet on pretty heavily this time around, did very well for me. So betting wise, it was great, and yeah, that's about all I have for my thoughts on that. Gonna see you guys next year. Looking forward to it already, even though it just ended. Within not moments, but like within recent time here. Already looking forward to next year. Can't wait to do this series again. But yeah, in the comments down below, let me know if what you think, how you did, what you thought about my opinions, what you think about, going forward, what these brackets are going to look like with NIL and stuff. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video on my channel, I encourage you to like and subscribe. Definitely helps out the video and the channel. It's very much appreciated. And, your viewership, of course, as always, is appreciated as well. So yeah, see you guys in the next one and peace.